Okay, let's unpack this. You sent us some great material, an article diving into the fascinating world of the Burman cat breed.
Hmm.
For this deep dive, our mission is to take your sources and really extract the most compelling insights, helping you get a truly informed perspective on what makes these felines so special.
Absolutely. Think of this as a shortcut, kind of, to really understanding the Burman. We're pulling out the essential characteristics, the stories from the information you shared.
Sounds
We
good.
look at everything from, their striking appearance and famous temperament to their surprising care needs and even their ancient legendary origins. They were originally known as the Sacred Cat of Burma.
Wow, the Sacred Cat of Burma. That name alone tells you there's a rich history here.
Definitely.
Let's jump right in then. Based on your source, what's the first impression of the Burman? What's the official name and what kind of cat are we talking about here?
Right. So the official name is Burman. But yeah, that historical name, the Sacred Cat of Burma, that's really key to understanding their background. The article immediately highlights them as an ancient breed, highly valued for two main things: their distinctive beauty and their incredibly mild temperament.
Okay, beauty and temperament. The source describes them as mid-sized, very sociable, easygoing, suggesting they adapt well to various homes, make wonderful pets for just about anyone.
Right, exactly. And there's that memorable line from your material that they are hard to describe, but come pretty close to perfection.
Haha, pretty close to perfection. That's some serious praise for a feline. Sets the bar high.
It really does.
So, visually, what are the absolute must-knows? If you see a Burman, what screams Burman?
Well, their look is definitely unforgettable. You're talking about a lush, usually cream-colored coat with contrasting darker points on their extremities.
Points being.
That's color concentrated on the lower legs, ears, face, and tail.
Ah, okay. But it's the feet, right? The white feet are the big thing.
Exactly. That's the signature trait that really distinguishes them, those pure white gloves on all 4 feet.
Gloves, right.
It's a striking contrast against the points and the body color.
Yeah.
And then, of course, those intense, bright blue eyes.
Blue eyes, too. Wow.
Yeah, it's a combination that really stands out.
It sounds incredibly glamorous, yet your source points out this interesting paradox. They look high maintenance, maybe a bit aloof, but the reality is different.
That's crucial insight, yeah. Despite the luxurious appearance, the article notes they are surprisingly not finicky. They're described as outgoing, friendly, and much easier to care for than you might expect, especially considering that long hair.
Okay, let's hone in on that appearance detail. You mentioned the size, generally 8 to 10 pounds. Is that typical?
Yes, the more detailed section of the article pinpoints that 8 to 10 pound range as typical for them.
And that coat. Okay, seeing a long-haired cat usually makes you think hours of grooming. But you said it's easy. How?
This is a key takeaway, really. The why behind the easy care is that their long coat lacks a dense undercoat.
Ah, no undercoat.
Right. That's the layer that typically causes all the mats and tangles in other long-haired breeds.
Hmm.
So while it's long and beautiful, it's significantly less prone to knots.
That's genuinely surprising for a cat that looks like that. Really useful info. And the point colors? Is it just like seal point, the dark brown?
No, actually, there's quite a range listed in your source. You've got seal, blue, cream, chocolate, lilac,
Oh, wow.
and various tortie patterns, too, like blue tortie, lilac tortie, seal tortie, chocolate tortie, and also blue cream. So lots of beautiful variations on that core pattern.
Okay, so they are stunning, easier to groom than they look. But
Yeah.
what are they like, personality-wise? Let's get into their temperament.
Right. If you're thinking about a Burman, this is probably the most important part. Their defining characteristic, according to the source, is sweetness and affection. They are bred to be incredibly social.
The article emphasizes they want to be involved with everyone in the family, right? And generally get along well with other pets, assuming, proper introductions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a quote in your material from Ingrid Johnson. She calls them ridiculously precious and sweet cats.
Ridiculously precious.
Yeah, which I think perfectly captures that core nature.
That's a great descriptor. Are they the type of cat that, bounces off the walls? High energy?
Definitely not known for the zoomies. Your source points out they're much more likely to be found snuggled on your lap or maybe tucked at the foot of the bed.
Okay, more chill then.
Very much so. Marilyn Krieger, another expert quoted, describes their laid-back attitude as making them an almost perfect family pet.
Almost perfect. High praise again. It sounds like they form strong bonds with people.
They absolutely do. Krieger notes they're very people-oriented, really affectionate, and often follow their favorite human around the house.
Like a little shadow.
Kind of, yeah. And they tend to do well with visitors, too, which isn't always the case with every breed. They're pretty welcoming.
So they enjoy attention? What about playtime? Do you need to provide elaborate entertainment? Or,
Well, younger Burmans might chase a laser or a fast-moving toy, but even then it's not typically sustained high energy.
right.
Older Burmans are often quite content just supervising your activities or wandering around the house. They are curious, though, and the source says they're trainable, which is a fun combination with that sweet nature.
Okay. Their adaptability to different living situations makes sense with that kind of temperament then.
It does. The source confirms whether you have a tiny apartment or a sprawling house, they tend to make themselves at home.
And the point about other pets, they can integrate well with cats, dogs?
Yes, generally fine with other cats or dogs, provided, again, introductions are handled carefully. But here's a key insight related to their temperament.
Uh-huh.
While they can be fine alone sometimes,
Uh,
it's crucial that you spend significant quality time with them when you are home. They really need that connection.
so they really crave that human connection. The source even says they can be a little clingy and needy. Is that fair?
Well, it highlights that they are truly bonded to their people. Marilyn Krieger's quote emphasizes they really don't like being left alone for extended periods.
Right. So if you do have long work hours or travel a lot, maybe something to consider.
Definitely. If you do have to leave them, enrichment is important.
Like toys and things.
Absolutely. You need to make sure they have plenty of toys to keep their curious minds busy. While they're described as moderately active, enjoying simple toys like felt mice or plastic balls, they also appreciate vertical space.
Like a cat tree.
Exactly. A cat tree is great. And cozy spots like sunny perches by the window or maybe a hammock. Though, let's be real, the source hints they might just commandeer your bed as their ultimate sunny perch anyway.
Probably true. Okay,
Oh.
let's revisit the grooming because that was such a surprising point for a long-haired cat. You said easy care, but what's the actual routine look like?
It's definitely less demanding than most long-haired breeds because, again, they lack that dense undercoat.
Right, the non-matting factor.
Precisely. So a simple brushing or combing a few times a week is usually sufficient to keep their coat looking lovely and prevent any potential tangles.
Any specific tools recommended in the source, like what kind of comb or brush?
Yeah, Ingrid Johnson suggests a dematting or shedding comb, a slicker brush, and also something like a flea comb or even a furminator for dealing with those softer flyaway hairs.
Okay, so a few basic tools. And is professional grooming ever necessary, or can you handle it all at home?
Johnson actually recommends professional grooming maybe twice a year, just to keep everything in absolutely top shape. And she specifically mentions something called sanitary shaves.
Sanitary shave.
Yeah, around the rear end, just to help maintain cleanliness back there. Makes sense with long fur.
Okay, got it. Beyond the coat, is it just standard cat maintenance then?
Precisely. Just like any cat, really. You'll need to keep their nails trimmed, their litter box impeccably clean, that's always important, and prioritize regular dental care.
Okay. Speaking of health, are Burmans prone to a lot of health issues? How robust are they generally?
Overall, your source describes them as a quite healthy breed, which is great news. They don't seem to have a long list of major inherent health problems compared to some other breeds.
That is good news. Are there any specific susceptibilities mentioned, though? Things to be aware of?
Like many purebreds, yeah, they can have predispositions. The article mentions susceptibility to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM.
That's a heart condition, right?
Yes, a common heart disease in cats. And also polycystic kidney disease, or PKD, kidney issues.
Okay, HCM and PKD, good to know. And dental care is particularly important, you said.
Yes, regular dental care is crucial to prevent dental disease in Burmans, just as it is for all cats, really. What's helpful here, though, according to the source,
What's that?
is that their laid-back temperament often makes them generally easier to handle, like for vet visits.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, it certainly makes keeping up with those preventative appointments maybe a little less stressful for everyone involved.
That makes sense. Their personality helps their healthcare. Okay, now let's shift gears a bit and look at their origins. How did this breed with such specific traits, the points, the gloves, the blue eyes, actually come to be?
Right, this is where that Sacred Cat of Burma name comes back into play. Your source confirms they are indeed an ancient breed, sought to originate in Burma, which is modern-day Myanmar.
And they weren't just like regular domestic cats there, they had a special role.
Exactly. They are believed to have been temple cats, companions to the kitten priests.
Temple cats. Wow.
Yeah, and there's a beautiful legend associated with them. It says that when a priest died, His spirit would pass into his loyal temple cat before moving on to the next life.
So the cats were seen as sacred vessels, almost.
That's the heart of why they are sometimes called the Sacred Cat of Burma. Yeah, a very spiritual connection.
So how did these temple cats make their way from Burma to Europe and eventually the West? Was it straightforwarder?
Well, the exact story of their arrival in the West back in the early 1900s is noted in the source as being a bit murky.
Ah, okay. Not perfectly clear.
Right. But the most common account involves a pair shipped to France. Tragically, the male died en route, but the pregnant female, named Sita, survived.
Oh, wow.
And she gave birth to a kitten called Poupée de Métalpour.
Poupée de Métalpour. And that kitten was key to establishing the breed outside Burma.
Yes, that lineage, starting with Sita and Poupée, helped establish the breed in Europe. They actually gained formal recognition in France by 1925.
1925, okay.
However, then came World War II, which was devastating for so many breeds. The Birman was nearly wiped out. The source says only 2 known Birmans remain in France after the war.
Only 2 cats. Wow, they came incredibly close to disappearing entirely.
They really did. But dedicated breeders worked hard to successfully rebuild the breed over time from that very small gene pool.
That's amazing resilience.
It really is. They eventually gained recognition in the U.S. by 1967.
And despite that near extinction, they remain popular today.
Absolutely. That combination of stunning looks, particularly those white gloves and blue eyes, and that wonderfully sweet, adaptable nature continues to make them highly sought after.
Okay, let's wrap up with some of the fun facts you highlighted in your material, because the history doesn't just end with ancient temples, does it? There's a truly modern cat celebrity story here.
Oh, the Choupette story. It's incredible. Karl Lagerfeld's famous Birman cat. I mean, she lived a life most humans could only dream of.
Right, the source mentioned traveling on private jets, having staff.
Precisely. She became a star in her own right, inspired a line of accessories, started ads like for a Vauxhall car calendar and a Shu Umura cosmetics brand.
She was in ads, a cat model.
Totally. And she even got her own book published.
Wow, and the financial side is just astounding. The article mentioning she made over $3 million in royalties back in 2015 alone.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it? And then there were all the rumors about her potentially inheriting a piece of Lagerfeld's estate. It's wild.
What happened to her?
Apparently, she still lives in Paris, living this pampered celebrity life. The source says she even has her own agent and is cared for by Lagerfeld's former housekeeper. Talk about a glow-up from Temple Cat.
From sacred companion to millionaire influencer cat, that's quite a trajectory. There's also a beautiful legend directly linked to their appearance, right? The one about the goddess?
Yes, that's the legend involving the blue-eyed goddess Sun Kiankus. The story goes that the Burman's striking coloration and signature deep blue eyes were a gift from the goddess.
A gift? How?
It resulted from her intervention after a temple cat performed some act of devotion or heroism. The specifics vary a bit. She also gifted them the pure white paws, symbolizing purity. It's a lovely mythological explanation for their distinctive look.
It certainly adds a layer of mystique to those blue eyes and white paws, doesn't it?
It really does.
And finally, a crucial distinction to make because the names are similar.
Yes, very important point raised in the material. Given the similar names, it's really important to clarify that the Burman cat is a completely different breed from the Burmese cat.
Right. Not the same thing at all.
Not at all. They look quite different and have distinct characteristics, so definitely don't mix them up.
That's a great point to end on the details with. So looking back at the material you shared in this whole deep dive, we've covered the Burman's striking appearance, those defining points, the perfect white gloves, those blue eyes.
Yep. And we've really dug into their incredibly sweet, social, and adaptable temperament, understanding why they are such beloved family pets, that sort of almost perfect companion.
And we uncovered the surprising truth about their long coat being relatively low maintenance, which is amazing thanks to the lack of an undercoat. Plus, they're generally good health profile, though with a couple of things like HCM and PKD to be aware of.
Exactly. Distilling these key insights from the source material really paints a full picture of this unique and cherished breed for you, the listener.
So whether you were already curious about Birmans, maybe contemplating adding one to your life, or, just enjoy learning about fascinating animals, hopefully this deep dive into the material you provided gave you some genuinely valuable insights.
Yeah, and thinking about their journey, I mean, from being revered temple cats believed to carry the spirits of priests,
Right.
to becoming a modern-day celebrity feline, earning millions, potentially inheriting a fortune, like Choupette.
It's quite the contrast. What does that extraordinary blend of sort of sacred history and modern pop culture fame tell us about our enduring, perhaps sometimes eccentric, connection with these captivating creatures?
Hmm. It's definitely something to ponder long after this deep dive is over.